Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. In this lovely occasion, I would like to explain about my reading report. But before coming to my reading report, let me introduce myself. My name is Abelia Nusupano, and I'm a student from Introduction to Sociolinguistics class. In this occasion, I would like to explain about my reading report for Introduction to Sociolinguistic class, and it is talking about language change and also language planning. The first, I would like to explain about language change. As we all know that the language is always change. The language changes across the space and also social groups. To know more about the language change, first I want to explain about how the language change spread. The first is from group to group. And from this first point, we know that social factors such as age, status, and gender affect the change of language very widely. Language or linguistic change infiltrate groups from the speech of the people between social or regional groups through the people who have contact in more than one groups. The second is from style to style. In particular, individual speech show that the language change spread from one style to another. For example, from formal way to the informal way of speech. This type of spread means that the formal language style shift to informal language style. The next is from word to word, or we can call it as lexical diffusion. As we know, the language can not only spread from groups to another, or from style to another, but also from one word to another. And this type of spread means that a change in a sound from a word that spread rapidly to other words in a language. And now let's talk about. Now I would like to explain about the reason why the language changes. The first, it is social status and the language change. In this factor, it is explained that one can imply that people with upper class status are more likely influence the people from middle and also lower class status to your upper class language. And then the second reason why the language change is gender and language change. Gender is also important in a language change. And in the term of gender, it is known that the woman is associated with change to achieve prestige in a vernacular norms. Meanwhile, men are more likely to introduce vernacular change often. From that explanation, we can take an example, and we can simply say like the women are more likely to use language. To use language in the context of emotional relationship with other people, while men are more likely to use language to describe events and also objects. And the third is interaction and the language change. As we all know that the interaction is one of the important tool for language change. If there is a little contact or communication or interaction with outside world, we can simply conclude that the language change will take place very slowly. And then the next explanation, I would like to explain about language planning. Language planning includes a kind of activity including the introduction of a new labels items and also reforming the new spelling systems. In language planning, usually the language planners generally focus in a particular language problem. So it means that they focus in a kind of a language problem, and their role is to develop language by using policies and finally will solve the problem appropriately in a particular speech community. Then addressing what is involved in developing a code or variation, it can be like a dialect or language, so that it is suitable for official use, can involve the issues that relate to the form of the variety the function it serves, and also the attitude the attitude of the people towards it. And in general, there are four interrelated steps related to these problems. The first is selection. It means that we choose the variety or cut that to be developed. The next is codification. It means that we standardize its structural or linguistic characteristic. And also this type of linguistic processing or types of linguistic activity is known as a corpus planning. The next step is elaboration, while the last step is securing its acceptance. Oh, alright, I think that's all about my explanation. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.